The Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass is coming out in about 2 to 3 days here in the United States, and we're just very excited for information and a little bit desperate and wondering where the kid in Indonesia is who was taking pictures of the guide with his phone like he was running out of a house fire. Well, today we're going to be talking about IGN's 30-minute preview of the Isle of Armor DLC and what it means for us. IGN got themselves a 30-minute demo preview of the Isle of Armor, and they have some things to say that tell us a little bit about the story and a little bit about the environment as well. So we're going to be taking a look at that right now. This information is publicly available on IGN.com, but if you're like me and prefer your news and articles in video format, here we go. We saw 30 minutes of Pokemon Sword and Shield's Isle of Armor DLC. We got an extended new demo of the first expansion pass content. Okay, sounds promising so far. I'm also just gonna crop the screen here because I don't think you guys need to see ads about Elder Scrolls Online. We learned about the Pokemon DLC back in January, and finally at the 11th hour, we've been treated to more than 30 minutes of uninterrupted gameplay from the beginning of the Isle of Armor DLC. There are two specific things I want to point out from my hands-off demo. First, I noticed that the Pokemon in the first trainer battle were around level 60, the same as the highest level Pokemon in the trainer's party. Nintendo's Demetrius Boggs told me the Pokemon Expansion Pass's trainer and wild area Pokemon scale with your own Pokemon's levels. From the sub-article related to this, it turns out that as soon as you have access to the wild area, you have access to the Pokemon DLC. In addition, there was a screenshot that we saw, which we have not seen before. This image right here, which shows us that the area that we thought was a train station is actually a Corviknight station. I don't know if this is a long-distance Corviknight that's gonna fly back and forth. They did say as soon as you get access to the wild area, not as soon as you get access to the Corviknight ride, which is after the wild area when you go into, what is it, Wedgehurst? No, not Wedgehurst. The first big station where you get access to the League, right? So it makes me wonder, are we going to be able to freely fly to the DLC Isles? Or do we need to go to a specific area to do this long distance Corviknight fly over here, right? When they say that the Pokemon scale to your level for both the wild area Pokemon and the trainer Pokemon, which is really nice, they said that they hit level 60 Pokemon and that was the same level as Pokemon in their party. However, it doesn't really clear a lot of things up because in the post game, all the wild area Pokemon are level 60. Does that mean that once you're at level 60 in the post game that all the Pokemon are level 60? Or if you go there with a team of level 100 Pokemon, are the wild area and all the trainer Pokemon gonna be level 100? Because if so, that would be amazing. I want a real post game. Come on, Pokemon. As of now, we're unsure whether the DLC areas will continue to scale with your level, or if the areas become locked to your level of your Pokemon when you first visit. But we will update this soon after we hear back from the Pokemon Company. My money is on, it goes on how many badges you have. Regardless, this is great news. Anyone will be able to enjoy the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass at an appropriate level regardless of how high or low level their Pokemon are. Though I can't comment on how difficult or easy this content will be. I don't know. I mean, for them to implement dynamic level scaling, it seems weird. I have money on it's going on badges, which means that if you're in post-game, it's not like you can make a team of level 5 Pokemon and just have a new adventure. But we'll find out in 2 days, right? We already knew that the Isle of Armor would include an additional wild area, but this demo confirmed that the entirety of the island is basically one big massive wild area, with much more diverse terrains than the one on the mainland. I saw coastal beaches, swampy marshes, lush forests, gloomy caves, and even deserts during my short tour. At many intervals during the story and upon entering new areas, the camera swept over each spot, creating a beautifying panoramic effect that highlighted the topography of the island. It also seems as though all these areas can be explored as soon as you get to the island without needing to progress the story, which leaves the pacing to the player's hands. Nice. Overall, each of these micro-environments, seem to be a little more full of environmental touches with logs or trees than the mainland wild area was. I also saw a Pokemon interact with their surroundings in ways I haven't before. For example, I saw a Pokemon on a tree branch in the forest. Though Nintendo couldn't confirm how we would interact with this Pokemon, I assume it could be lured down by the tree with whistling at it, like you would lure a flying Pokemon. Huh, it sounds like they have new spawn locations that are like in trees and stuff like that, which definitely makes sense, because how do you differentiate the forest from the marsh from everything else? You need to have those special spawn locations, and I think that's pretty neat. I also saw a huge, and I mean massive, whale lord in the water from the beach. I'm not sure whether this was 2-scale representation of an overworld Pokemon, or if it was part of the story and had some other purpose. Most likely, it was just a Pokemon in the overworld. I know that it's not that surprising, but seeing a giant Pokemon in the water brought me a joy in that moment. Overall, I saw a large variety on the island, and I'm happy to report that a few of my personal favorites return. I did ask if the large inclusion of old Pokemon previously unavailable in Pokemon Sword and Shield was in response to player feedback, but the Pokemon company's Elvin G said that the Isle of Armor expansion was already being developed before Pokemon Sword and Shield were released. Before anyone gets up in arms, that's very common to the Pokemon company, to plan Game 2 of the same game. Like, they start working on Pokemon Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon before Sun and Moon is released. They start working on Oris before X and Y is released. It's a common thing. Don't get all up in arms about it. Of course, there was more to the demo than just a tour of the island and its myriad of Pokemon. I also got to see the first 30 minutes of story, which included introductions to Clara, or Avery, Mustard, and other NPCs that call the Master Dojo on the Isle of Armor their home. Because the demo was for Sword, they trained with Clara, which quickly outed herself as a self-interested, mean girl type. But her antics were nevertheless amusing. After defeating her in battle, she instructs you to not approach the dojo. However, this is, of course, where you must go to progress the story. Okay, I kind of like her. Am I playing Shield? I'm playing Shield, aren't I? Dang. I get the boy. Once inside the dojo after a quick battle, you're presented with a choice and the introduction of a move tutor that will accept Amorite ore as payment. Then Mustard explains that the dojo's apprentices must complete 3 trials in order to earn the dojo's sacred armor. One of the challenges includes collecting max mushrooms, which are used to create the previously revealed max soup, which unlocks the ability for a Pokemon to G-Max. Though it was only a single different trial, one that I can't reveal just yet. It reminded me of the mini-games you might encounter as part of the Sun and Moon Island Challenge, except perhaps less involved. Huh. I mean, the max mushrooms really goes hand in hand with the map, the big hexagonal tree that we saw that glows purple. I was on Philly Beatsy's channel and I made my statement on there in regard to that. I'll probably link it at the end of the video. But max mushrooms could definitely grow under that giant tree. Just in case you don't know what I'm talking about, when looking at the giant map of everything, you have this hexagonal tree over here that glows purple, and we believe is related to the player having this purple aura on their face while they're being surprised. It's worth mentioning that I saw a mysterious Pokemon looking over the main character from the top of the dojo. Because of the previous promotional material for the Dilk, we know that's Kubfu, a fighting-type legendary Pokemon which evolves to Urshifu. We know this Pokemon is an integral part to the story and the Isle of Armor DLC, and its evolution is dependent on which of the 2 towers you choose to face, the Tower of Darkness or the Tower of Waters. Okay, great. Thanks for giving us additional information there, IGN. I saw one of these pagoda-like towers on the coast of the island, but that's as much of the story that I saw and can reveal now. Oh, so they did see more, but they can't reveal it. Oh, except the customizable bikes. I didn't see a menu for this, and Nintendo and Pokemon Company couldn't give me additional information, but I saw 2 different bikes with different, similar to the trails you unlock for your cars in Rocket League. Great, now I have to play Rocket League just to understand what you're saying? When speaking to one of my friends who religiously plays Rocket League, he said that trails in Rocket League show up behind your car when you hit supersonic speed. You can customize the trails. And I said, to clarify, you mean just the colors and particle effects? He said yes. So in addition to choosing our bike's color, it's possible that once we hit A for that little Rotom Turbo Boost, we have those different particle effects behind our bike that we did see during part 2 of the DLC's trailer. I loved exploring the wild area and catching a wide variety of new Pokemon in Sword and Shield. In fact, it was one of my favorite new features, considering that the Isle of Armor DLC seems right up my alley. Though I do hope this story is robust on its own and doesn't rely on Pokemon catching as a way to artificially pad its playtime too much. Then again, who doesn't like catching Pokemon in new places? Very true. This small look into the Pokemon DLC is kind of interesting. It has my brain thinking about stuff. That's what usually my brain does. I'm curious now because I have a couple of playthroughs. One of them has 3 badges, and then one of them has 8 badges but didn't beat the champion. 2 of them are in post-game. So my question to myself is, if I'm in post-game and I have level 5 Pokemon and I go there, are the Pokemon going to be level 5? Or are they going to be level 60? Or are they going to be higher than level 60? If I go there with level 100 Pokemon, are they going to be level 60? Are they going to be level 80, 100? What is it? We don't know. Anyways, I'm excited for this, and we are just less than 2 days away from Pokemon DLC. We do not have a release time yet, although I do have a video on speculation. It's going to be on screen right now, as well as the video of Philly talking about the map, and if you want to dive more into the map and its mechanics, there you go. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. Until next time, Austin John out.